What baby name immediately makes you lose all respect for the parents and why? One time when I was working at a motel, I took a reservation over the phone from a woman for her daughter. Woman. Her name is Sri Lanka. SRI space LANKA. Me. Oh, you mean like the country? Woman. What do you mean? Country? I was on a little league baseball team with these two brothers named Doer and Achiever. Talk about pressure to perform. Those parents had expectations. In Freakonomics there's a story of two brothers called Winner and Loser. Feels bad, but Winner ended up in jail and Loser became a cop. The overly matchy names to the point of ridiculousness. My top example is a set of brothers named Romance, Romantic, and Romeo. Knew a family with Hunter, Fisher, and Ryder. My cousin named her son named Lincoln, which isn't bad by itself, at least until she had her daughter, Kennedy. She said she plans on naming her next kid Garfield. She literally names her kids after the last names of assassinated presidents. I think she wants her kids to be assassinated. My sister-in-law named her kid after the land of Canaan. Biblical reference. For those not in the know, it's pronounced Keenan, or Keenan. She decided to pronounce it Canon. Canon. Not only is she one of the least Christian people I have ever met, who adamantly says she follows the Bible, she also consciously chose a well-known name and purposely mispronounced it for her kid's name. I used to write on cakes. The worst name I ever saw was Tubapoo. I asked if it was a nickname. It was not. It's been like 6 years and it still haunts me. Her mother's name was Natalie. Why Natalie? Why? Dang Natalie, you a crazy bee. So my wife was giving birth to our first son and the midwife asked if we'd chosen a name yet. We said yes and told her Seth. She replied, oh thank goodness, a normal name. The last woman in here named her child Precious Bunny. After finding out I was having a boy, my OB asked if we'd chosen a name, and I said yes. His name is Owen. She let out a huge grin and said, oh, a name I can spell. I love those. Back when I worked with children, I met a young lass named Yannick. I felt sorry for her. She was only 4 or 5 at the time. At the moment she entered school, she began to hate it because the other children thought that it was silly and wouldn't play with her. Eventually, the dad of another child said that it was a bad name to her face. Seriously, don't do things like this to your children. They aren't pets. They'll have to deal with the repercussions of your bad naming choices. Who names their kid after a crappy MLM? A few weeks ago when I was at the gym, I looked up at the TV while I was running and there was a news report on about a missing child named Khaleesi, except it was spelled Khaleesi or Chalazi or something stupid like that. Bad enough that it's a title, not a name. Even worse that it's not even traditionally a position of power in the Asoyaf universe. It's more wife of leader than queen, as it is often thought of as. But the misspelling just make it so much worse. Hasn't that poor child been through enough? I think the kid was found safe BTW. Baby, as in the Dirty Dancing led female, because nobody in the professional world is going to want their name to be Baby. Update. Yes, I realize her real name was Francis in the movie. The point of my comment was to say naming a baby is dumb. You ever see Baby Driver? My name Baby. Baby. I lose respect for parents who give their kids first names that when added to their given last names become horrible. The parents don't even care that their kid has to live with it. 2 real examples I've come across are Richard Seaman. The guy's name is Dong Seaman, for frick's sake. And even worse, Desire Cox. I know a P. Green. Also know of an Edward Ward. He goes by Edward though. There was a girl in my sister's class called Morsh. Her mother wanted to name her Mariam and her dad wanted to name her Porsche, which in of itself is an awful name. They decided to mash up Mariam and Porsche and call her Morsh. Should have named her Marsh. I knew 3 sisters names Autumn Breeze, Summer Sky and April Rain. Bonus edition, one of them had a kid and named it Gidget. Inspector Gidget. Not so much a specific name, but gross butcherings of names, i.e. Caitlin instead of Caitlin. When you want your kid to be generic, but unique. Any name based on a popular TV series or movie, like If I see your daughter is named Khaleesi, I think significantly less of you as a person. I know kids from my daughter's school called Thor and Kal-El, not from the same family either. I've become numb to it. I live in Utah and have heard every horrifyingly cute way to spell any name. Thanos was a hero. Utah's terrible for this kind of thing. I went out to lunch once and heard a mom call her toddler daughter Brexley. Shame. I had a set of twins. I'm a teacher. A couple years ago named Heaven and Nevi. I had 4 kids named Sean in one class. All spelled differently. None spelled Sean or Sean. I had a girl named Jezebel and boys named Jesus and Messiah in one class. Nothing really wrong with those names, but having all 3 in one class was odd. I also had a kid named Ted that year. Not Theodore or Edward. Just Ted. I saw his birth certificate. Just Ted. This year, one of the other teachers has a boy named him Lord. I'm not even making that. What's getting my goat this year is the random apostrophes. Your child's name is Elena. A lovely name. Imo. But Elena is ridiculous. I have 3 girls with random apostrophes in their names. It's annoying. Caden Kaizen. The popular K names. And also Jackson. It's irrational but just so overused in middle school, unique to me. Like those names you made for your future kids in 6th grade and look back on to laugh about. When we were in 6th grade, one of my classmates decided that if they had a girl they would name her Holly Alexis. She has children now and did not name any of them that, and I am irrationally annoyed about it. There was a lady at the library the other day corralling her 2 kids, Bailey and Jameson. Either one is fine, but together. I know a little girl named Georgia. It means hunter in German, but definitely not why she was named that. One of my former employees had the first name Baby Destiny. Yes, really. Worse still, HR just put baby on her name badge. For every time I had to catch myself and say the full name so I didn't sound like a creep. I can only imagine how many other people didn't realize there were 2 words in her name and had to refer to her as just baby, or how she must have felt to have everyone calling her baby. Not a baby name, but a co-worker was named, had her last name hyphenated when she got married. She became Mrs. Brown. I know of someone who is called Star, which is kinda cute except for the fact she's named that because it's rat spelled backwards. She was born in the year of the rat. I mean, better than being born in like the year of the dragon. She would have been named Noggard. My older brother named his son Morty, after the titular character of Rick and Morty. I have nothing against the show or anyone who watches it, but, come on, man. Naming your child Bear makes me think you're a huge T. Mostly because I've met a few gorgeous children called Bear and every one of the parents were huge twats. Only thing you can call Bear is a dog or cat, or a bear. Nevi, although I think that has more to do with the fact that every parent I know who has named their baby this is a teenager who thinks they're so cool for dropping out of school in 9th grade, who are about as deep as a puddle but think they're Aristotle or Shakespeare because it's heaven spelled backwards since she's my angel. The children I've seen named Nevi have all been in the NICU after they were born. My love, yes, I have met a kid named this. That poor kid is probably not going to be successful, unless they change their name later on. Milov would at least give him the excuse that he's of Russian or East European ancestry. Any form of Aiden, and or Ashley. I am a teacher and have had students with all those variations. I actually had 3 Aidens and 4 Ashleys, none of which were spelled normally, in a class of 23 students. Like, come on parents, you aren't being original by making your kid's name ridiculous to spell. I had a chemistry teacher who was an avid runner. He proudly told us his 3 children were named Miles, Lane, and Chase. How narcissistic do you have to be to name your children after your hobby? Named your twin blonde girls Brooklyn and Brinkley? Okay, I'll let it slide. What's the youngest girl's name? Bixby? Okay, that's ridiculous. We can't be friends. I don't lose all respect for them, but I definitely make assumptions about you if you name your kid Jackson or similar. Mostly that you're a little trashy, which is okay, and we can still totally be friends. I'm a little trashy, too, just not with names. Name that has degrading meaning. I mean, how stupid are you to call your son Loser? Yes, I am implying the Winner Lane and Loser Lane guy. A co-worker has a friend who named her daughters Vengeance and Violence. People trying to do creative spelling. Jackson instead of Jackson. Amy instead of Amy. My mom decided to be creative with my name and I have to spell it every dang time I give it to anyone. Doctor's office, phone calls at work, etc. is bad enough, but Starbucks and Arby's too. I can't freaking go anywhere. I've always vowed to give my kids normal names spelled the normal way. I met the adult child of parents who named their daughter Morticia Adams after the TV show. I made her show me her driver's license and there was the proof. Her own parents had a different last name. Caden, Candence, Cadence, Jaden, Jackson, and that popular strain of names right now. They just seem so pretentious, uncreative, and ubiquitous while trying to be creative and unique. All the spelling variants seem like they'll be a nightmare for those kids. I'm going to chip in with my own. Anyone who decides it's okay to name their child after something you'd find in a fruit bowl. Fruitfly Smith here. Go frick yourself. Shaylin, Lakin, McKinley, Braden, Hayden, Jaden. All of these kids attend the library programs my kid does. Edit, Lakin and McKinley are twins. And no, they're not Irish. Not even the Irish go that bananas. I'm Irish. And, even though I love the old names, if you named your baby Atticus in 2018, you're probably the world's most annoying hipster. Naming a kid Atticus screams. My 10th grade English teacher made me read To Kill a Mockingbird, and it's still my favorite, because I haven't read anything since. Chicago, North, true, just to name a few. I'm no Kardashian hater, but I really can't stand the names they give their kids. Cash, it isn't the worst name in the world, but the fact his second name was Ransom made it a whole lot worse. Cash Ransom. I saw a lot of unusual baby names in my previous job. I expect great things from Maverick Scott. Saw a lot of girls named Chardonnay and a couple named Precious. And we all groaned at the first Khaleesi. I always wonder how these kids are going to feel when they're 16 or so. Like, maybe 4-month-old Orion is adorable. But how is 16-year-old Orion going to look and act? And how will he feel about being Orion then? IDK, I knew a guy in high school called Titus McTavish and he owned that name. A few years ago there was a guy in my area in the news. His first name was Justice. He's doing 100 years for stabbing 3 people. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.